For the fortnightly catch-up is Leeann Watson from the Canterbury Employers Chamber of Commerce. Good morning and thanks for your time. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Chris.
I always used to poo-poo this suggestion that we call ourselves the 21st knowledge century city or whatever, the 21st century knowledge city. It all sounds a bit buzzwordy, but there is some truth in that because Christchurch, we are almost becoming, I think, the leaders of technology. And you've got some details to kind of back that up in terms of what we need in this city, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Christchurch is very well known for its high-tech sector, and they do extremely well in terms of representing the high-tech sector on the world stage right from Christchurch. And I think one of the things that has set us apart from other cities, certainly in the last few years, is the adversity that we have been through following the earthquakes. And that has been a real catalyst for businesses to actually think about doing business in different ways and using different models. But that's actually nothing new either. If you take it right back to, some of our pioneers like, Sir Angus Tate and Bill Hamilton, we've always been very innovative in this city.
We have been, you're so right about that, but a lot of the IT specialists and technology whiz kids in the city, they're humble and they're quite quiet about it. But I think we need to be shouting it from the rooftop because there's a lot going on now, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important that all businesses pay attention to the future of work. And, as you said, there's a lot of buzzwords out there, but the future of work is largely around the work in the future will be very, very different to what we're currently seeing. And there's all sorts of predictions out there. And, largely no one can actually give us a definitive answer on what that looks like. But, for example, more than half of the jobs that will exist in 2030 have not even been considered yet. So they don't exist at the moment. That's some of the predictions that we're hearing. So what that means is that it's really important for businesses to think about how they can adapt, how they can evolve, and how they can respond to some of the big disruptors that we're seeing coming down the pipeline. Things like artificial intelligence, like big data, some of those buzzwords again that you've heard, but they are actually playing out here. Think of the impact that things like Airbnb have had or Uber Eats, for example.
Yeah. That's a very good point. You would never have thought about these types of, I suppose, crazy ideas, say, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But now it's become mainstream in such a short amount of time. Lime scooters. Who would have thought that we'll be seeing happy faces on Lime scooters now? I know it's a California company, but that innovation, we need to keep up with the play.
Absolutely. And if you look at the impact that things like Uber and Lime scooters and, probably a lot of other things have had on, traditional means of transport around our city, that is a classic example of disruption. And so, businesses need to be looking not only within their own industry, but outside of the industry about the sorts of things that can actually come and disrupt them. So we need them to be one step ahead. And Christchurch businesses, as I said, are well positioned to do this. We are agile, we're nimble, but we can never become complacent about what some of those disruptors might be in the future.
So what that means, Leann, I'm guessing, is always do your research, keep knowing, trying to, it sounds like a cliche, but it's so true, trying to keep ahead of the game. Even in this industry, we wouldn't have been even thought about, live streaming interviews now, but you've got to move with what people want, and it happens to be Facebook, good or bad,
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that, the next generation coming behind us, they have different expectations. They consume things in different ways. So, that is another disruptor for any business. How can we make sure that those businesses are responding to those needs? And we've all seen it. We've seen the millennials, we've seen the Gen Zs, I live with two of them. They want things instantly. They want to purchase from organisations that are more purpose-led. Those are the sorts of disruptors that businesses need to be geared up for.
And we need to keep making sure that we're right up there. And this is a classic example I always give, and it's a bit, cliche, but it's Mitre 10, for example. If I go out there in Hornby, you go there, I might not need a coffee, but I'll get one because the cafe's there. They've got a children's play area now. Then you feel more inclined to buy something because they realise they've got to create an experience because you can go online and get your gardening tools, but they are creating an experience.
Absolutely.
Same with all the restaurants and cafes around Christchurch. They realise if they've got to stay in business, they've got to create an experience because competition's too big and you've got your Uber Eats. So what's the point of going out when you can get Uber Eats?
Yeah.
But I went to the terraces with my friend on Saturday night, really enjoyed the experience. And we were close to going, let's just watch Netflix and get Uber Eats. But I'm glad I went to, and I'm going to give a special shout out to, what was it called, Botanic, because it was a really lovely experience. There's a great vibe, great clientele, and that I decided to do that instead of going to Uber Eats,
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the experience. And I think, some of those businesses along the terrace provide an amazing experience. World-class fit-outs, we're so lucky that, some of our hospitality providers and our developers in Christchurch have made the commitment to not only, rebuild along that particular part of town, but also to do it at such an extremely high level. And so it is about the experience. It's about making sure that they are constantly evolving and changing the way that they offer.
Leeann Watson from the Canterbury Employers Chamber of Commerce. I really enjoyed the conversation. Nice to see you again.
Lovely to see you too, Chris.
It is News